So, hi everyone. Welcome to class. I'm Kate. I'm an English teacher on Verbling, and today's class is for beginners learning English, and it's on pronunciation. So we'll be practicing some sounds and words and sort of types of intonation that can be tricky for learning people learning English, and hopefully will help to make you sound a little bit more natural in English. Okay, so I want to welcome the students who are here already. Hi, Sergio.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. Thank you.
Good. And Oscar, hello. Oscar? Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but it's nice to have you here. Okay, so I want to ask the three of you, what do you think are some of the more difficult things about pronunciation in English?
I think sometimes TH sound is difficult.
TH sounds.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And American R is a little bit different.
The American R. Okay. Compared to how you say R in your language, you mean?
We say re
Ah, okay, yes. And for us, it's just an sound.
or
Okay, good, good. All right. And for the others, what do you think? What are some of the most difficult aspects of pronunciation in English? Okay. All right. Well, if you think of something, feel free to say it. So I'll give you an idea of what we'll be doing in the class today. So today's class is really about speaking and participating, and don't worry about sounding silly or emphasizing things too much, because that's the whole idea, right? Is to just really practice and exaggerate the sounds so that they become more natural for you. And so essentially we'll be practicing a few different aspects of pronunciation. We'll start with word stresses, right? So in English there are no accents. So how do you know where to put the stress on a word, right? A lot of it is just practice, um, and that's what we'll be doing today. So does the stress fall on the beginning, the middle, or the end of the word? We'll be looking at intonation. So in a sentence, sometimes our voice goes up, and sometimes our voice goes down as the sentence goes on. And there are actually patterns here, so depending on what type of sentence it is. We'll also be talking about some different consonant sounds. So we'll talk about the difference between T and D. We'll practice making that sound. The difference between P and B, and V and F, so things like that. All right. And then also we'll practice R and L. So just sounds that can be tricky for English learners. All right, any questions before we get started?
No.
no.
Okay, good. Hi, Oscar, by the way.
Hi, teacher.
How's it going?
I'm fine.
Good, okay. All right, and Oscar, what do you think are some of the most difficult things about pronunciation in English?
The difficult pronunciation is the pronunciation of vowels and the intonation.
Pronunciation of vowels and
Yes.
intonation. Okay, good. Yeah, absolutely. So English has a lot of vowel sounds, and they often do not make any sense. Okay,
Yes.
so which is frustrating, right? There's no rule. We can write something one way and spell it another way. Sorry, pronounce something one way and spell it another way. All right, so I want you to pronounce a few words for me. Hold on one second. All right, so can anyone pronounce these two words that I typed in the verbling box?
Cow, wood.
Cough, wood,
Yeah.
right? So even though this OU is spelled exactly the same in both words, this vowel sound, it's pronounced completely different in both. And this OU sound especially is pronounced like 10 different ways, right? Depending on what word we're using. Okay, so that's just an example. English can be very tricky, as you know. Okay. And Ali, who just arrived, welcome.
Hello, welcome.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well,
Good.
thanks.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and we'll essentially just be doing a lot of repeating after me, and then I'll ask you to say things one-on-one on your own, things like that. All right. All right, so can you see this? I'll make it a bit bigger.
Yeah, can you make it a little bigger? Because
Is that okay? Or even bigger?
no,
Or bigger.
more
Please.
bigger.
Yes.
Is that good?
Okay, it's okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's okay for me.
Okay, good. All right, so. Sorry. Okay. So we're going to start here. Okay. Okay. So essentially, the first thing we're going to be doing is talking about stress on different words. Okay. So whether I want you to here to look at in exercise 1, we're going to look at words where the stress is at the end of the word. Some of these are phrases. Okay. So I want you to just repeat after me. All right. Tonight.
Tonight,
Tonight.
Good. Parade.
parade,
Parade.
Exchange.
exchange,
Put up.
Put up.
put up,
Put on.
Put
put
up.
on,
Chinese.
Chinese,
Cheese.
Okay, good. So a few things to notice. When we say put in English, if it's followed by another word, this T sound, and this is especially for Americans, we tend to pronounce this as a D. So just put up.
Put up.
Put up.
Up.
put up.
Okay? Good. All right, any questions?
Yeah,
All right. So now I want you to listen to these words where the stress is at the beginning. Okay, so repeat after me. Lemon,
Lemon.
lemon,
Lemon.
entree,
entree,
Tray.
chicken,
chicken,
tofu.
Tofu.
tofu,
Good. Noodles,
Noodles.
Noodles.
noodles,
mushrooms.
mushrooms,
Mushrooms.
Mushroom.
Good. Okay. And what happens to an E if we have a letter E in English and it's in the syllable that's not stressed? What happens to it? Like in chicken, noodles.
Those.
So what happens is it becomes a neutral vowel. It becomes, if you like the phonetic alphabet, it's the schwa symbol, right? It's the neutral vowel. So chicken, it's like an sound instead of an E. Chicken.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so just notice that. All right, and look out for it. So this will only be in the syllable when the stress is not on the E. Okay? All right. So, any questions so far? Okay.
No.
So, we're going to come back to this idea of stress on individual words, but first we're going to look at stress in a sentence. Okay, so can someone read the directions for exercise 3?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I love Italian food. So do I. I don't like golf. Neither do I. I'm crazy about jazz. So am I. I can't stand kung fu movie. Neither can I.
Okay, good, thank you. So, yeah, so just essentially we're talking about this stress on the I in sentences where we are expressing our agreement with someone. Okay, so if you're speaking with someone and you want to say, you want to agree with them or you want to show that you share their opinion, this is a very common structure in English. So if you're talking with someone, oops, and you might say, "Oh, I saw that new movie about the superhero." And you're like, "Oh, so did I," right? Um, or I went to that new Mexican restaurant in DuPont Circle the other day. Oh, so did I, right? It's when you're agreeing or saying that you shared an experience. And what we do is we really emphasize the I at the end of the sentence. So, um, so why don't you repeat after me? So do I.
So do I.
So do I.
So do I.
Good. Neither do I.
Neither do
Neither do
I.
I.
So am I.
So
So
am
So
am
I.
am
I.
I.
Good. And neither can I.
Neither
Neither
can
Neither
can
I.
can
I.
I.
Okay. Good. Right? So we're really emphasizing this I at the end of the sentence. And here, uh, what does this mean? I can't stand kung fu movies.
I can't live without.
Not quite.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I hate it like.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, I hate them. I hate them. So I can't stand them. This is a really good expression to know. Sorry. A really good expression to know in English. I can't stand. It's very common, and it just means I really dislike or I hate something. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so here, we're coming back to the stresses in the word. And now we have a bit of a test for you. Okay, so it's testing your ear. So I want you to repeat after me, and then afterwards, I want you to tell me where the stress is in each word, if it's at the beginning or the end. At the beginning or the end. Okay? All right, so repeat after me. Desert,
Desert.
Desert.
degrees,
Degree.
Degrees.
New York,
New
New
York.
New
York.
York.
river,
River.
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 July,
July.
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 airport.
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 Okay, so desert, where's the stress?
Beginning.
Beginning, yeah.
The beginning, desert. Oops, sorry. Okay, degrees,
Also on beginning.
And
degrees.
Or saying.
It's at the end.
and
Degrees. And notice again, I'm pronouncing this E as an sound. Degrees, right? Because
yeah.
good, because the E is on the atonal syllable. It's not stressed. Okay. New York
And
at the end.
yeah.
New York. River.
Beginning.
At the beginning, good. River. And then again, this E is a river. Okay, and this sound, is this sound difficult for people, the
River.
River, good,
River.
good. All right, July.
In the
Also
beginning.
beginning.
This one's at the end.
And
July,
July.
July, man.
good, right? Not July, it's July.
July.
Excellent, good. Okay, and airport.
At the end.
Airport.
No, beginning.
Beginning.
At the beginning. At the beginning. So not airport, it's airport.
Airport.
Okay, good. All right, and this is just, sometimes it can be difficult, right? It's just, I think, a matter of listening and repeating. Okay, so it'll get easier. All right, so a similar thing in exercise 5. Sorry, and feel free to just stop me if you have questions, okay? Just say, Kate, wait, I need you to repeat that or whatever, okay? Don't feel bad interrupting me. Okay, so in exercise 5, it's similar. We have a stress at the beginning of all of these words, but one word is different. So I want you to listen and tell me which word is different. Okay, so actually repeat after me, and then afterwards we'll decide which word is different. Okay, so repeat. Graduate.
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 Good. Wimbledon.
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 Good. Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Separate.
Separate.
Promotion.
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 Waterfall.
Waterfall.
Okay, so where's the odd one out?
Promotion.
Promotion, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, good. So yeah, okay, here I'm going to start with Wimbledon, right? The stress is at the beginning.
Yeah.
Hollywood and waterfall. These two words are interesting because they have two different pronunciations. Okay? So if you say graduate, graduate, you can also say graduate. Graduate. Spelled the same way.
Graduate.
Graduate. Graduate. Like it sounds like,
Graduate.
okay, it sounds like IT at the end.
Yeah.
And the difference is graduate.
Graduate.
Graduate is the verb.
Yes.
And then a graduate spelled the same way, which is so confusing. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Graduate. Graduate.
A graduate is the person who graduates.
Yeah.
I graduate.
So
Graduate.
here, if you look at this, a graduate graduates today.
A graduate graduates today.
Good. A graduate graduates today. Do you hear the difference?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Graduate.
Okay, good. And hi, Rosario. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Okay. And then again, with this word, there are two different pronunciations. So we have separate, which is the verb, and then separate, which is the adjective.
Separate and separate.
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 So if you say,
Separate.
hold on. It's like, so the verb is separate, the way it looks like it should be pronounced.
Separate.
And then the adjective is pronounced like this, separate,
Separate.
Separate.
separate. Okay? So verb, separate. Adjective, separate,
Separate.
separate,
Separate.
separate. Good. Okay, so we really close the syllables together. We kind of mush everything together. Okay.
Separate.
Separate. All right. Any questions?
No.
All right. Good. Okay. So now I want you to listen and again and repeat and tell me which one is the odd word out. Okay. So repeat. Recycle.
Recycle.
Potatoes.
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 Gasoline.
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 Banana.
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 Sahara.
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 Good. Pacific.
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 Okay. What's the strange one? Which one was different?
Sahara.
No.
Recycle.
Banana.
No.
Recycle.
Listen, I'll read all of them again. Okay, so listen to me. Don't repeat.
Potato.
Recycle, potatoes, gasoline, banana, Sahara, Pacific.
Gasoline.
Yeah.
Gasoline.
Gasoline.
Yeah.
It doesn't read gasoline.
Yeah, so you can say either. So in all of the other words, where is the stress?
It's in
At the end.
the
In the
first.
middle.
Hey.
In the middle. Right? If there's three syllables, we have recycle, potatoes. Right? And then here, you can either say gasoline or gasoline.
Gasoline.
You can say either. So I think I tend to stress, I would say gasoline, stressing the last syllable, gasoline, but people all the time say gasoline. So both are fine, okay? But what's not stressed, you would never say gasoline, right? That sounds very strange. So it's either stressing the first or the last syllables. All right?
Potato.
Potato.
Tomato.
Okay.
Tomato.
Tomato, potato, yeah. All right. Okay. So, questions?
No.
All right. So what we're going to do next is practice some difficult consonant sounds. Okay, so, all right, so I want you to actually listen. Well, here, what I don't like about this exercise is you know if they begin with T or D because you can see it, right? You can see it, dark, tall. And what's difficult is when these sounds come at the end of the word. So let me find some better examples. All right, so let's practice these sounds first. Okay, so repeat after me. Dark,
Dirt.
Dark.
tall,
Tall.
Tall.
travel,
Travel.
transportation,
Transportation.
die,
Die.
deep.
Deep.
Okay, good. So, but now what I want you to look at, to listen, so, right, this is easy because, die and deep start with D. They go in this column, right? It's the D sound. A D versus a T. But when this becomes difficult, when the D or the T is at the end of the word, not as much in the beginning. So let me give you some examples. Okay, this is stupid. All right, so So here we have the T and the D at the end of the word. Okay, and Na Young, hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
Okay.
sorry I'm late.
No problem. So we're just practicing difficult sounds, intonation, stress, things like that in English.
Okay.
Okay?
Mhm.
All right, so we were just saying the T and the D sound, it's easy enough at the beginning of a word, but when it comes at the end of a word is when it can be difficult. Okay? So listen to how these sound and repeat after me. Lit, lid.
Lit,
Lit,
Lead. Lead.
Good. Mat, mad.
mat,
mad,
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 Matt. Mad.
Rot, rod.
Rot.
rod,
Road.
rod,
Good. Late, laid.
Late.
late,
Laid.
Right, ride.
Right,
right,
right.
right,
Right. Right.
I heard right, right. Right, ride.
right,
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 Right.
Good. Wrote, road.
rod,
Right, road.
road,
Road.
Set, said.
Sat,
set,
set.
sad,
Set. Said.
Good. Okay, so can you hear the difference?
Said.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say one word from each pair, and I want you to write down which word I've said. Okay? So I'm going to write down either lit or lid, and you write it down, and I'll go through all of them, and then afterwards we'll check. So this is sort of like a mini test to see how you do differentiating these sounds. Okay?
okay,
So 1, lit. 2, mat. 3, rod. 4, late. 5, ride. 6, road. 7, set. 'All right, so in the first one, which one did I say? Did I say lit or lid?
lit,
With T or D?
T,
T, good. And the next one?
What's the name?
Did I say T or D?
T,
T, good. Mat. And this one?
D,
Rod, good. And this one? Oops, I told you. Late.
T,
I said
T,
late.
T, yeah,
Sorry.
late,
T,
And the next one? Ride.
ride, D,
right.
Road.
Road.
T,
D. Road.
yeah,
V. And the last one? Set.
set,
T,
T,
T. Okay, good. All right, so can I have someone volunteer to read all of these pairs?
okay, maybe,
Okay, go ahead.
lit, lead, mat, mad, rot, road, late, laid, right, ride, rot, road, set, said.
Excellent. Very, very good. Thank you, Ellie. Okay, very good pronunciation. All right. So let's move on to these P and B sounds. Okay, this is the same thing. At the beginning of the sentence, it's easy enough, but at the end of the sentence, it can get confusing. All right, so all right, so repeat these words after me. And we're doing the difference between P and B. B. P and B. Okay, so pants.
Hands.
Hands.
Good. Pants.
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 Baggy.
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 Bottles.
Bottle.
Bottle.
Bottles.
Peaceful.
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 Beautiful.
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 Population.
Population.
Okay, very good. So now we're going to do the same thing as before with P's and B's at the end of the words. What? Okay. So again, these sounds are really the most difficult at the end of the word. So repeat after me. Pat, bat.
Pet.
Pat. Bat.
Bat.
Pot, bought.
Pet.
Pat.
Bat.
Bot.
Pot, bought.
Pot.
Pot.
Bot.
Bot.
Good. Cap, cab.
Cap.
Cap.
Cab.
Cap.
I heard cap, cap.
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 Cab.
Good.
Cap,
Cap,
cab.
cab.
Cap.
Cab.
Cap.
Cab.
Good. Good. Yeah, very good. Perry, berry.
Perry.
Perry.
Berry.
Berry.
Pup, pub.
Pop.
Pub. Bob.
Pub.
Pub.
Pub. Pub.
Pup, pub.
Pop.
Pub.
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 Good. Really exaggerate the B sound at the end of the word.
Pub.
Pub. Good.
Pub.
Okay. Lip, lib.
Lip.
Lip,
Lip.
Lip. Lip.
Good. And crap, crab.
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 All right.
Crab.
Good. Okay. Can I have a volunteer to read these?
I read it.
Good. Go ahead, Rosario.
Pat. Bat. Pot. Bot. Cap. Cab. Perry. Berry. Pup. Pub. Lip. Leab. Crap. Crab.
Good. The only one that sounded not quite right to me was this one. Lip, lib.
Lip. Leab.
Good. Good. All right. Good. Okay. Any questions?
no.
All right.
No.
So let's look at some more intonation things. Okay, so more intonation. So here we're looking at suggestions. Okay, these are sort of polite ways to give advice. All right, so why don't you? And a lot of times they have a falling intonation, which means what? What does it mean to have a falling intonation?
The
Goes down.
emphasis, falling down at the end of the sentence.
Yeah, good. So essentially it starts higher
And goes down.
and goes lower. Okay, so repeat after me. Perhaps you'd better go on a diet.
Perhaps
Perhaps
you
you
better
better
go
go on
on a diet. Perhaps you better go on a diet.
Perhaps
Yeah, good. Perhaps you'd better go on a diet.
perhaps
Perhaps you better go on a diet.
Okay, and these actually aren't questions. So that's misleading. Sorry about that. Okay, so suggestions like this aren't questions. They're just sort of polite statements. Okay.
Why didn't you get a job?
Yeah, why don't you get a job? Why don't you get a job?
Why didn't you get a job?
Why don't you get a job?
You should say you're sorry.
You should say
You
You
should
should
sorry.
say you're sorry.
You should say you're sorry.
You should say
You should
say
you're sorry.
you're sorry.
Okay, good. Why don't you go to a doctor?
Why
Don't
don't
you
you
go
go
to
to
a
a
doctor?
doctor?
Why don't you go to a doctor?
Good. All right. So, yeah, it's hard to to say it without, or sort of exaggerate these without sounding unnatural. But if you notice, it's really the very beginning of the sentence that's sort of emphasized, right? The suggestion part. So the perhaps, the why don't you, the you should, and the why don't you. These are the part that indicates it's a suggestion, and they're the parts that are stressed. So I want to ask you to practice these by giving me a few pieces of advice for some problems I have. Okay, so I want you to give me a piece of advice. I'm going to give you a problem. I want you to give me some advice using this type of intonation in your sentence. Okay, so imagine my problem is this. I can't sleep. I can't sleep at night. What should I do?
Why did you go to a doctor?
Good. Why don't you go to a doctor? Excellent. I'm failing all of my exams.
Why didn't you go to a teacher?
Good. All right. Why don't you go to a teacher? All right.
Why don't you
Oh.
study lesson?
Oh, you should stay. Oh, you should study a little bit longer. No, a little bit more.
Yeah. You should study a little bit more. Right? You should study. Okay. Good. And let's see. My problem is that I think my boyfriend is cheating on me.
Why don't you hire a private detective?
Okay, good suggestions, Rosario. Why don't you hire a detective? Why don't you hire a detective? Okay, so it's really just emphasizing the suggestion part of the sentence at the beginning. Okay, questions? Okay, I'm going to skip exercise 10 for now. And I want you to identify the stressed words in the sentence. Okay, so first repeat after me. This is exercise 11. So I want you to listen, repeat these sentences after me, and tell me afterwards. I'll ask you which which words did we stress in these sentences? Which words did we stress? Okay, so repeat after me. I've never been to France.
I've never been to France.
I never been to France.
I've never been to France.
I've never been to France.
I've never been
I never been to France.
Good. My computer's crashed.
My
My
computer
computer's crashed.
My computer's crashed.
My computer's crashed.
My computer's crashed.
I can't send an email.
I can't send an email.
Send an email.
Good. I can't send an email.
You can send.
I can't send an email.
I can't send an email.
I've been scuba diving.
I've been scuba diving.
Scuba diving.
I've been scuba diving.
I've been scuba diving.
Okay, good. So, where you stress a sentence will also depend on the manner that you speak.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some patterns that we tend to have. So here, when I say, I've never been to France, what am I stressing?
Never.
France.
Never.
Yeah, never. Right? It's usually, here what I'm stressing is the never. So I've never been to France. I could stress this sentence differently, and it would have a different implication. So if I said, I've never been to France, and emphasize the France.
But one day I will go.
Yeah. Well, so that would be emphasizing the never. I've never been to France, but one day I'll go. If you say, if your stress is, I've never been to France, what someone would expect you to say next is, but I've been to Germany and Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're saying, if you're emphasizing the France, it's that you've never been to this place, but you've been to other places. Uh-huh. Okay, so where we, or you could even say, I've never been to France. I've never been to France. This would be a bit strange, but it would imply, well, I've never been there, but I've seen it, or I've heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you see all the differences?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, all right, so, but I think the most natural way to stress this would be, I've never been to France, right? Stressing the never.
I never been to France.
Okay, good. What about in the next sentence? My computer's crashed.
Computer.
Yeah, right, my computer's crashed. And here, this is actually, so this is something we would say speaking. My computer has crashed. Written, this is incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Because here what you're saying is my computer has crashed.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have apostrophe S, that means is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is okay. This is okay spoken, but written,
It's not okay.
this is not okay. So just so you know. Okay. All right. In the next sentence, I can't send an email.
I can't.
Can't.
Yeah, I would say even I can't send
I can send.
an email, right? We kind of stress can't send an email, right? Can't send email.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And here, I've been scuba diving.
I've been scuba diving.
I've been scuba diving.
I've been scuba diving.
Yeah,
Scuba-
we kind of, there's no clear stress in this one. We say, I've been scuba diving. The diving is sort of the thing that's unstressed, I would say.
Cuba.
Scuba diving, right? In that, we emphasize the scuba.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Questions? All right, so I want to do this last exercise here, and then move on to some tricky vowel sounds for the end of class. Some tricky vowel sounds. So first, I just want you to listen to these words. This is the difference between R and L in English. The R sound and the L sound, which it depends on your native language. For some speakers who speak Eastern languages, this can be difficult. For other speakers, it's not as difficult. Really, the difficulty of these sounds depends on what sounds you have in your native language, of course. So, all right, so repeat after me. Relieve,
Relieved.
Relieved.
Lottery.
lottery,
Lottery.
Lights.
Lottery.
Lottery.
lights,
Lights.
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 good.
Lights.
Lights,
Lights.
Lights.
written,
Written.
Written.
written,
Written.
relaxed,
Relaxed.
Relaxed.
love.
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 Okay, so so a couple of things to notice. In relieved and relaxed, relieved, relaxed. These are all adjectives, but they're made from the past participle, right? And how do we pronounce this ed? Relieved.
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 What sound does this make? Relieved.
Relieved.
It makes a T sound. Good. Relieved. Relieved.
Relieved.
Relieved.
Relieved. And relaxed.
Relaxed.
You can notice it even more with this word, relaxed.
Relax.
Relaxed. Yeah.
Right? We don't say relaxed. We say relaxed.
T sound.
Relax.
Yeah. So it's a clear T sound here. And here, written. No. Okay. Here, lottery.
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 Lottery. How do we pronounce the TT?
D.
Like it's one T.
It's like a D, actually.
D sound.
Lottery. Lottery.
So it's literally, it sounds like this.
Yeah.
Or la,
Lottery.
lottery,
Lottery.
Lottery.
lottery. like this.
Uh,
Lottery. Okay, and again, what happens to the E sound here if it is, what happens to the E sound here?
lottery,
Lottery.
like schwa, lottery.
Yeah, it's a schwa, right? It's the neutral vowel because where's the stress in this word? Where is the stress?
Right.
Lottery at the beginning.
At the beginning. At the beginning. Right? Okay, so lottery. So that means this syllable, the second syllable with the E in it, is not stressed. Right? So it becomes the neutral vowel.
Teacher, a question.
Yeah.
When we say written, is it T sound or American English
Written.
pronunciation? Written, something like that.
So here, even in the US, we would say written
Written.
with T. Which is
Written.
surprising. I actually, when I said that out loud, I realized that, right? So I didn't realize I said it that way because Americans really tend to pronounce T's as D's, especially when we have a double T. But here we say written.
No, just I learned some double T in the middle of the word, maybe written something, button,
Written.
something like that.
Button. Yeah, button.
Button, not D and not T. Some
Button.
button.
Button. Yeah,
Button.
it depends on where you're from.
Push the button.
Push the button. Yeah, that we tend to say. We don't say button. We say button.
Button.
Almost like this. Button.
Button, yeah. So,
Button. Push the button. Okay, yeah. And okay, is that clear, Ali? Do you have a question in particular?
yes, so, I learned maybe other teachers from
Yeah.
other teachers American pronunciation. It's not like a letter, like a space middle of the word.
Yeah,
Button,
that's good.
button. Yeah,
Button. Yeah. Or you could think of it as written.
written. Yeah.
So yeah, so written. If you say written, that sounds a bit more like British English, I suppose. They really pronounce things more. If an American is speaking fast, you'll hear written.
Written.
So in the sentence, he hasn't written to me in a while, for instance.
Yeah.
Or have you written the essay? Have you written the essay? Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. Any other questions? Okay. So now, okay, so thank you for being patient. I know that was a lot of sort of reading and sort of drilling these sounds. Now I want to get into the vowel sounds, which can be just a few very tricky vowel sounds, which you know, you might sound a little silly pronouncing these, but it's worth it. All right, so let me start with this. All right, so I want you to pronounce these 4 words for me. Can someone pronounce these 4 words for me?
Yes.
Which
Chip.
word?
They're in
Sheep.
the verbling box. Sorry. Start again,
Okay.
Ali.
Chip, cheap, ship, sheep.
Excellent. Very good.
I
Okay.
didn't see them.
Oh, sorry. They're in the verbling chat or the verbling box. I can post them in the chat box also.
Okay.
Okay.
Cheap. 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 Ship and sheep.
Good. Okay. So
Ship. Sheep. Cheap.
yeah,
Sheep.
chip, sheep. So listen, chip, cheap, ship, sheep.
Chip,
Okay.
cheap.
Yeah. So what happens here? The two difficult things are the sound in and e, the ee or ea sound, the long e, and these can be especially difficult for for Spanish speakers. Yeah, and that's the problem. So Rosario, when I was teaching English to teenagers in Andorra, and I would often say, hold
Sheet.
on. I would say, take out a sheet of paper. Take out a sheet of paper, right? And that means take out a piece of paper. And I would say that, and they said, oh, ha, 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 take out a sheet of paper, right? Okay, but if you, and I was like, what's funny about that, right? And I realized that it's the I sound and the E sound, especially for Spanish speakers, it's hard to distinguish.
Yeah, I'm Italian, which is similar to.
Yeah. So, all right. So this one is very important because you could end up saying something offensive. Also,
Could you pronounce again the sheet?
yeah. Take out a sheet of paper.
Sheet.
Chip.
Sheet. E.
Sheet.
Eat. Sheet. Really exaggerate the E.
Yes.
Okay, so
It's like a beach.
Chip.
yeah, exactly. And then the beach. That was my student's favorite place as well. The beach.
Chip.
Okay. So
Chip.
again, so listen to this again. Chip, cheap, ship, sheep. And I'll
Chip.
exaggerate it. Let me exaggerate it first.
Chip.
Chip,
And cheap.
cheap, ship, sheep. Okay, so when we have the I by itself, it's this really ugly vowel sound. It's an like you're disgusted by something, right? So, chip, sheep. Okay, so can I have everyone just practice saying chip, sheep, ship, sheep. So Ali, you read it. That was great. Nayang, can you try it?
Cheap. 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 Sheep. Sheep.
Good. Oscar?
Sheep, 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 sheep.
Good. Oscar, where are you from?
I am from Colombia.
Okay, so you're a Spanish speaker, so this is tricky for you, right?
Yes.
So, repeat after me. Chip, cheap,
Cheap, cheap,
cheap,
cheap,
cheap.
cheap.
Good. Better. Really, really elongate the E. Because
Yeah.
what tends to happen, what I've noticed, especially with Spanish speakers, is I hear tip, chip, tip,
Yes.
tip, tip, right? And ship, ship. So tip, sheep, ship, sheep.
Cheap, cheap,
Ship, sheep.
cheap, cheap,
Ship, sheep.
cheap, cheap.
Okay, good. And Rosario, chip, sheep, ship, sheep.
Chip. And sheep. Chip. Sheep.
Chip, sheep, ship,
Chip.
sheep.
Cheap. Chip. Sheep.
Okay, good. So how do you feel about that?
Getting better.
It's getting better, right? And then
Yeah.
even actually the CH and the SH can also be tricky,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what else? What's another good example? So shore, shore. Chore, shore.
Shore. Shore. Shore.
Shore,
Shore.
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 I heard
Shore.
chore, chore.
Shore. Shore.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a very subtle difference, right?
Shore. S
Shore.
S A or
Yeah. So it's a sound.
S
Shore.
A O R E. Shore.
Yeah, shore. Okay, good. All right, so is that one clear? Do you have so chore, shore. It's really almost the same sound. The only difference is with you're starting here, shore, and with the S when it's sh, you're starting with a sh, like you're feel like you're telling someone to be quiet.
Yeah.
Soar.
Don't shush me. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Is there anything that anyone wants to practice in particular in the last 2 minutes? If not, I have a few more tricky vowel and consonant sounds. Okay. All right, so can someone try to pronounce this for me?
Which one is the verbal
Sorry,
box?
in the verbling box. Here, I'll put it in the chat box also.
Not, cut, caught.
Good.
Oh, okay. Not, cut, caught.
Okay, I heard nut, cut, caught.
Okay.
So almost.
Not,
Good.
cat, caught.
Good. Right? So we have nut, then a sound, and an ah sound. Nut, not, cut, caught.
Not,
cut,
caught.
Good. Good. So these two can sound similar, right? People tend to say nut, or cut. And
Not.
yeah, not.
But T is silent at the end, right?
Nut,
Not.
a nut. You say it. It's not silent. It's just not very emphasized.
Emphasized.
Okay. And notice that this AU sound and this O sound, so the not, the O in not, and the AU in caught, not caught. These are almost the same sound, right? They rhyme. Okay. And then quickly, I want to do one last thing. The difference between TH and D. Okay, so can someone read this line?
Chat boxing.
Oh yeah, chat box, sorry. Okay. So, can someone read this line?
Read, cloth.
Good, good.
Read, cloth.
Okay, good.
Read, cloth.
All right, so Nayang, here it sounds like this sound is difficult for you, right? The TH?
Yes.
Yeah, that's normal. So some people tend to pronounce it as more of an S. So I heard wreath, right? It's th. Your tongue comes in between your teeth.
Read, cloth.
Yeah,
Cloth.
good.
Cloth.
Read,
Excellent, Nayang, good.
Thank
cloth, clod.
Good. Okay, very good, everyone. All right, good. So I could go on for a long time, but we're out of time, unfortunately. So any last minute questions?
No.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much. You were very patient, and you were good sports in this, okay? So I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you in class again soon.
Thanks to you, Bella.
All right,
Have a
bye,
good one.
everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.